Hi friends, I would like to introduce myself. I am Agnello Rajesh and I am from Mumbai in India. I am a social and a serial entrepreneur. Let me explain my activities. I am into the business of villa developments. I am also a strategic investor in fashion, natural stones jewelry and online education for students and parents. I am also developing content for parenting. I am going to discuss today on anxiety and techniques to manage anxiety, especially during the current times. The largest part of what we call personality is determined by how we have opted to defend ourselves against anxiety and sadness. So let's discuss what is anxiety. Friends, anxiety is our body's natural response to stress. It's a feeling of fear or apprehension about what's going to happen or what's going to come. Like the first day of school, going to a job interview or giving a speech may cause most people to feel fearful and nervous. So in simple terms, when we feel fearful and nervous about something, we become anxious. A big event or a built-up of smaller stressful life situations may trigger the anxiety. For example, a death in the family, work stress or an ongoing worry about finances, a disagreement within family or with friends or some health issues may trigger the anxiety. Friends, daily stressors like traffic jams or missing your train or flight can cause anyone anxiety. But long-term or chronic stress can lead to long-term anxiety and worsening symptoms as well as other health-related problems. Friends, stress can also lead to behaviors like skipping meals, drinking alcohol, or not getting enough sleep. In the short term, anxiety increases your breathing and heart rate. This very physical response is preparing you to face an intense situation. Anxiety attacks usually peak within the first 10 minutes and then they rarely last more than 30 minutes. But during that short time, you may experience terror so severe that you may feel as if you are about to die or totally lose control. So let me discuss some generalized anxiety disorders based on my study. Let me discuss some of them like excessive anxiety and worry. I will call it apprehensive expectation occurring frequently for days, weeks and months about a number of events or activities. It can be related to work or health or environment related issues. It can be anything. Friends, the person finds it difficult to control the worry and that's worrying. The anxiety and worry are associated with symptoms like, restlessness, being easily fatigued, having difficulty in concentrating or mind going blank, increased irritability, muscle tension, sleep disturbance, difficulty in falling or staying asleep, or restless or having very unsatisfying sleep. Now all these symptoms or disorders are experienced by one and all at some point or the other in life. Just imagine the mindset of people who have to perform tasks which are legally risky, like an operation being done by a doctor or a landing by a new aircraft pilot, or a last over of a match in cricket which needs 10 runs to win with the last batsman at the crease. Just imagine the quantity of stress and anxiety. Now these are absolutely anxious and stressful moments. How they are managed and handled will define the person and his personality. Now friends, let me discuss the difference between anxiety and anxiety disorders. Both are different. Knowing the difference between normal feelings of anxiety and an anxiety disorder and whether requiring self-care or medical attention can help a person identify and treat the condition accordingly is critically important. Anxiety is a problem when it becomes overwhelming or unmanageable and it comes up unexpectedly. Anxiety itself, friends, is not a medical condition but a very natural emotion that is vital for survival when an individual finds themselves facing danger. It's very natural phenomena. Anxiety disorders are mental illnesses that have a big impact on your life. People may avoid going about their daily lives in order to avoid anxiety. An anxiety disorder develops when this reaction becomes exaggerated or out of proportion to the trigger that causes it. Friends, when anxiety can cause distress, it is not always a medical condition. Let me discuss the best techniques to manage anxiety under various situations. While for anxiety disorders, I strongly recommend counseling with a medical professional for anxiety management. I am happy to share with you all that various anxiety management techniques are there in place. And for better understanding, I have divided these techniques into three parts. The physical provocation that constitutes the terror of panic, that is the first part. The wired feelings of tension that get correlated with being stressed out is the second part. And the third part is the mental anguish of reflection, a brain that won't stop thinking distressing thoughts. Let me discuss part 1, the physical provocation part. So friends, distressing physical provocation is sympathetic arousal that causes the heart thumping or pulse racing or making you feel dizzy or shortness of breath that can come out of the blue and that are intolerable when not understood. Friends, even high levels of anxiety can cause physical tension in your jaw, in your neck and in your back, as well as an emotional feeling of doom or dread in the pit of your stomach. You feel that pressure in your stomach, which will set off a mental search for what might be causing it. Friends, let me share method number 1, which is to manage the body. We need to eat right. We need to avoid alcohol, nicotine, sugar and caffeine. We need to exercise regularly. We need to take ongoing self-care. We need to sleep well, and we need to consider hormonal changes at the time of the right age in life. Method number 2 is to breathe. Just breathe, friends. Breathing will slow down or stop the stress response. Do the conscious deep breathing for just 1 minute at a time, almost 10 to 15 times per day. Every time you are waiting for something, for example, for your phone to ring, or you are waiting for an appointment, or you are waiting for your kettle to boil the water, or you are waiting in a line for something. Method number 3 is mindful awareness. Please close your eyes and breathe, noticing the body, how the intake of air feels and how the heart beats. What sensations you can feel in the gut, in your stomach. Enjoy and experience that. With your eyes still closed, purposefully shift your awareness away from your body to everything you can hear or smell or feel through your skin. We need to shift our awareness back and forth from your body to what's going around you. Your eyes need to rotate around you. You will learn in a physical new way as to what aspects of the world you can control, internal or external. You will notice that. Giving you an internal focus and control, and learning that when you can ignore physical sensations, you can stop making that catastrophic interpretations that bring panic or worry. Friends, it allows you to feel more in control and mindful of the present. Now let me discuss part 2, which is tension, stress and dread. Many people with anxiety search frantically for the reasons behind their symptoms in the hope that they can solve whatever problem it is. But since much of their heightened tension isn't about a real problem, they are actually wasting their time running around an inner web of perpetual worry, never ends. Even if the tension stems from psychological or other causes, there are ways to eliminate the symptoms of worry. These methods are most helpful for diminishing chronic tension, friends. So let me discuss some solutions. Solution number 1. Don't listen when worry calls your name. Just don't listen. This feeling of dread and tension comprises a state of low-grade fear, which can also cause other physical symptoms like headache, joint pain and ulcers. The feeling of dread is just the emotional manifestation of physical tension. You must first learn that worry is a habit with a neurobiological underpinning. I feel you should then apply relaxation to counteract the tension that is building up. Now, this don't listen method decreases the tension by combining a decision to ignore the voice of worry with a cue for the relaxation state. To stop listening to the command to worry, you can say to yourself, it's just my anxious brain firing wrong. You should say this to yourself. Now, this is the cue to bring and begin relaxation breathing, which will stop the physical sensations of the dread that trigger the radar. Solution number 2 that I would like to share. Knowing, not showing anger. When you fear anger because of past experience, the feeling of anger, even though it remains unconscious, can produce anxiety. To know you're angry doesn't require you to show you're angry. A simple technique, friends. Next time you feel stressed with anxiety, you should sit down and write as many answers as possible to a particular question. And that question is, if I were angry, what might I be angry about? Restrict the answers to single words or brief phrases. Now, this may open the door to get some insight into the connection between your anger and your anxiety. Solution number 3. Have a little fun, friends. The world knows, we all know, laughing is a great way to increase good feelings and discharge tension. Getting in touch with fun and play isn't easy for the serious, tense warrior, so you shouldn't be one. A therapy goal could be simply to relearn what you had fun doing in the past and prescribe yourself some fun. Now let me discuss the part number 3, the mental anguish of reflection. Friends, these methods deal with the difficult problem of a brain that won't stop thinking about distressing thoughts or where worry suffocates your mental and emotional life. We all have experienced this, friends. Now these worries hum along in the background, generating tension or sick feelings, destroying concentration and diminishing the capacity to pay attention to the good things in life. Friends, therapy does not need to focus on any specific worry, but rather on the act of worrying itself. Let me share some methods that are the most effective in eliminating rumination or reflection. Method number 1, turning it off. If a reflecting brain is like an engine stuck in gear and overheating, then slowing or stopping it gives it a chance to cool off. Friends, the goal of turning it off is to give the ruminative mind a chance to rest and calm down. Just calm down. Sit quietly with your eyes closed and focus on an image of an open container ready to receive every issue on your mind. Friends, see and name each issue or worry and imagine putting it into the container. With no more issues come to mind, put a lid on the container and place it on a shelf or in some other out of the way place until you need to go back to get something from that container. Till then, keep it somewhere else where you can't reach it comfortably. Now, once you have the container on the shelf, you invite into that space that is left in your mind whatever is the most important current thought or feeling or emotion. Friends, at night, right before sleep, invite a peaceful thought to focus on while drifting off to your sleep. Method number 2, persistent interruption of reflection. Reflective worry has a life of its own, consistently interfering with every other thought in your mind. The key to changing this pattern is to be persistent with your attempts to use thought stopping and thought replacement. Very effective methods which can be practical. It's important to attempt to interrupt the pattern every time you catch yourself reflecting. You have spent a long time establishing this pattern and it will take persistence to wear it down or come out of that habit. Thought stopping is very interesting. Use the command stop and use a visual image to remind yourself that you are going into an old habit. The command serves as a punishment and as a distractor. Thought replacement is a very good tool. Substitute a reassuring, assertive or self-accepting statement after you have managed to stop a negative thought. You may need to develop a set of these statements that you can look at or recall from your memory. Method number 3, friends, worry well but only once. Some worries just have to be faced absolutely head on, and worrying about them the right way can help to eliminate secondary and unnecessary worrying patterns. Friends, when you feel that your worries are out of control, try some solutions which I will just mention. Solution number 1. Worry through all the issues within a time limit of just 10 to 20 minutes and cover all the bases related to that worry. 2. Do anything that must be done at the present time. Set a time when it will be necessary to think about the worry again. Have a timetable for that. Point number 3. Write that time on a calendar. And point number 4. Whenever the thought pops up again, say stop. I have already worried, and divert your thoughts as quickly as possible to another activity. You may need to make a list of these possible diversions beforehand so that you don't have to keep thinking at the last moment. The last method, learn to plan instead of worrying. A big difference between planning and worrying is that a good plan doesn't need a constant review. An anxious brain, however, will reconsider a plan over and over to be sure that it's the right plan. We are all habituated to this. This is all just ruminating worry disguising itself as making a plan and then seeking constant reassurance. Now, it is important to learn the fundamentals of planning, as it can make a big difference in calming a ruminative mind. A ruminative mind needs to be calmed, and this include point number 1, concretely identifying the problem. Point number 2, listing the problem solving options. Point number 3, picking one of the options. Point number 4, writing a plan of action. Friends, to be successful in this approach, you must have learned to apply the thought stopping and the thought replacing tools, or you can turn planning into endless cycles of replanning. Once a plan has been made by you, you can use the fact that you have the plan as a concrete reassurance to prevent the round robin of ruminative replanning. Please don't get into that. The plan becomes part of the thought stopping statement. Stop, I have a plan. It also helps the endless reassurance seeking because it provides written solutions even to problems the ruminator considers hopelessly complex. Friends, the conclusion is simple. These skills do require patience and determination. However, once learned, people gain a lasting sense of their own power and competence in working actively with their own symptoms to conquer anxiety through their own efforts. Friends, I wish you the best in life, and may you be successful in all that you have decided and planned. This is a wish from my heart. Once again, friends, I would like to mention and I would like to introduce myself that I'm Agnelo Rajesh and I'm from Mumbai in India. I'm into the business of villa developments, and I'm also an investor, a strategic investor in fashion, natural stones jewelry, and online education for students and parents.